Hey, what's up? I'm Mr. Honish and welcome to My Flipped Classroom. Today we'll explore the region known as Central America, which is really the southernmost part of North America. It's an isthmus connecting North and South America, hence Central. On the west side is the Pacific Ocean and on the east is the Caribbean Sea. Central America's land is incredibly rugged but also incredibly beautiful. A chain of mountains and volcanoes runs through the very center, with coastal plains on the far east and far west. When you consider the terrain, as well as the fact that Central America only has a few short rivers, you can imagine how difficult transportation might be in this region. What the region has going for it is climate and vegetation. Much of the Caribbean coast is full of tropical rainforest, and much of the Pacific side has been utilized as plantations for sugarcane, bananas, and ranching. The more mountainous interior has cooler temperatures, which allows them to grow different crops, such as coffee beans. Some of Central America's mountainous regions are covered in something called cloud forest, which is a moist, high-elevation tropical forest where really low clouds are commonly found. Central America is in the tropics, and temperatures stay fairly constant from summer to winter, so changes in seasons are marked by changes in rainfall. Winter is typically the drier season, and summer tends to bring heavier rain and wind. Sometimes, though, that's in the form of hurricanes. Despite their agricultural success, Central America lacks in many other natural resources and is very dependent on trade with regional neighbors for energy and minerals. Today, Central America consists of 7 countries: Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. I have a mnemonic device to help you remember them, in that order, courtesy of Noah Davis, back from my first year of teaching. Grandma Betty eats ham, not crunchy potatoes. If you're sitting there thinking, wow, that's helpful, then great, I hope you use it. If you're sitting there thinking, man, that's stupid, my grandma's not even named Betty, I could come up with something better, then great, go think of something better, whatever works for you. Anyway, these 7 countries actually share a lot of common history and culture due to the influence of the Maya, the Spanish, and the United States. Early on, most of the region was part of the Maya Empire that we mentioned in the Mexico video. You know, the calendar people that inadvertently freaked everyone out in 2012? Well, although the Maya disappeared by about 900 AD, their ruins can still be found here, especially in Guatemala and Belize. Many of their customs have survived in these countries as well. Like much of the world, though, a good chunk of Central America's history had a heavy dose of European influence. Beginning in the early 1500s, Spain had control of nearly all of Central America, except for Belize, which went to Britain. Now, I know, since you are all paying close attention and are also thinking critically and making connections and being curious right now, you're thinking, Mr. Honish, if Spain owned almost all of the region, how and why did Britain get a place like Belize? Well, the answer is actually pretty cool and has to do with pirates. Pirates, yeah. It also explains why I absolutely hate the movie Pirates of the Caribbean. Here it goes. Story time. When Spain took control of all these new colonies in the New World, they got pretty rich. When you get rich, you tend to flaunt your wealth, and when you flaunt your wealth, your neighbors notice. Britain, no stranger to getting wealthy off colonies themselves, decided, hey, let's get in on that New World action. Since Spain was pretty well established there, though, Britain decided to just attack Spanish ships carrying goods out of Central America and steal their stuff. Real-life Pirates of the Caribbean. And it became the namesake of Tampa Bay's NFL franchise. The thing is, being a Buccaneer is tough and really dangerous, so instead of continuing with this strategy, the British Buccaneers landed in Belize and started harvesting natural resources themselves. So now the Spanish were getting rich, the British were getting rich, and everyone lived in peace and harmony. Oh wait, that's right, the natives lived there. We forgot about them. To get the Europeans fabulously wealthy, someone had to actually do the work, and since it was really hard work, the Europeans didn't really feel like it, so they enslaved the natives and brought in a bunch of Africans for good measure. This inadvertently created a new social structure with Europeans at the top, followed by European descendants born in the New World, then people of mixed European and native or African descent, which means even though the Europeans looked down on the people they enslaved in public, they must not have always been doing it in private, if you know what I mean. And then finally the natives and Africans at the very bottom of the social standing ladder. If you were anywhere but the top of this social hierarchy, you might be kind of mad about it. And guess what? They were. But it wasn't until the early 1800s when, as mentioned in the Mexico video, a slew of problems at home and a bunch of other rebellions throughout Latin America forced Spain to give up these colonies in Central America. And all of a sudden we have 6 newly independent countries. Now you might think independence would be fantastic and wonderful for Central America because those exploitive Spanish were gone and now nobody could possibly come in and force the people to grow bananas and sugarcane so they could trade them and make lucrative profits off the sweat and toil of others. Oh yeah, except the United States did just that. So even though the Central American countries were independent, they were actually completely dependent on U.S. fruit companies and the decisions that they made until the U.S. decided to back off a little bit in the mid-1900s. When I say back off a little bit in the mid-1900s, I mean officially back off, because the CIA kind of overthrew a lot of governments and propped up new governments that we liked that the people there didn't. But that was all a secret, so it couldn't be proven that we were doing anything. Okay, this room might be bugged. Anyway, now the countries of Central America could finally have some peace and quiet and enjoy their No? Then they had civil wars? Probably something to do with all that CIA overthrowing governments nonsense. No, the U.S. would never do that. Okay, seriously, I'm going to talk about something else now before the choppers start showing up and they take me away. At the very least, many of these conflicts have died down in the last few decades, and stability has been slowly but surely coming back to the region. The introduction of tourism has brought much more prosperity to the region. Ecotourism, or the practice of using an area's natural environment to attract tourists, has been especially successful since Central America is full of beautiful beaches and lush tropical rainforests, and is a relatively short flight away from the incredibly wealthy tourists of the United States. The question now is how the countries of Central America will use the incoming wealth of tourism. For their sake, hopefully it's not just one more instance of their economic well-being relying on other countries doing things for them. If they can reinvest their tourism profits at growing other aspects of their economies, we could see them rapidly modernize over the next few decades. But for now, all we can do is keep an eye on it and see what happens. So, go study, and until next time, bye-bye!
I think now, looking back, we did not fight the enemy. We fought ourselves. And the enemy was in us.